Welcome to the Galvanize with Gavin podcast. This is your host, baseball player and entrepreneur, Gavin Johns. This podcast will empower you to reach your fullest potential in life. Inspirational stories, keys to success, and practical methods to overcome life's challenges will be revealed. I encourage you to be the light in the lightning and spark a positive change in the world today. So we're going to be doing, I have a few questions prepared for Lisa, and then we'll leave it up to the audience. If there's any followers who would like to ask Lisa or myself any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them. So I guess I'll start off just saying, so Lisa King, she's a pharmacist of 33 years. She's a life coach and Amazon best-selling author of the book she actually co-authored with her sister called Tiny Life Changes, which we'll get into today. Incredible book. I read it myself, just amazing. So Lisa is passionate about health and well-being and was actually recently named Single Care's most influential pharmacist of 2020. So an incredible honor. She also has a passion for empowering women to gain freedom from bladder issues, and founded the platform everyone knows as the Fulfilled Pharmacist, doing just a lot of amazing things, helping people's health and the community and just making the world a better place. She believes you can truly achieve your goals and dreams one step at a time. When she's not encouraging others, she's living a healthy lifestyle and spending time with her family. So without further ado, Lisa King, thanks so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Gavin. This is exciting because I feel like it's a different platform than what I usually share. So I like to know that my audience is being well spread out here with your platform. So that's fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks again for coming on. I see we have some people in the chat. We have Suzanne. Suzanne says, Lisa is one wise woman. I've learned so much from her. Sylvia says, Lisa is a tremendous resource for so many.
Yeah, thank you, ladies. You're very kind.
Yeah, thanks so much. Lifestyle Jay said, Lisa, you are amazing. So we'll get into some questions here. I wanted to start about just health and wellness. You know, that's your specialty, and the world needs to be more educated on that so they can, implement that in their life. I know from my life, I've been, encouraged by yourself, seeing things on social media that you post and online, just about improving overall health and wellness, and it's not this huge, big, scary thing that I think people assume it is. It's it actually is. They're practical things that you can do, every single day. So I wanted to ask, what would you say are 3 practical things that men and women of all ages can do to improve their overall health today that will help them in the long term? Would you say it could be mental, physical, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just get started. As a pharmacist, I love sharing, practical tips that are going to help from the inside out, just healthy living. Just, I know you're very young and a lot of your baseball player friends are really young, but these are just tips that you can incorporate into your daily routine to help live that long, healthy life. And that's one really good point too, as you had just mentioned, what are several tips, but it could even be one thing to get started. So I know when you're thinking about healthy living, you're thinking, okay, I've got to drink more water. I've got to exercise. I've got to eat healthy. And it just seems super overwhelming. So if you just pick one thing and just work on that and then just keep moving forward and just adding more things in, that can be really beneficial too. One thing I talk about all of the time on my platform is reducing sugar. So that really is so helpful to prevent so many different disease states such as diabetes, obesity, heart disease, you name it. But even for a young person like yourself, just reducing sugar can help with mental clarity, just focus, all that type of thing. So I like to recommend the American Heart Association recommendation of 25 grams of sugar per day for women and 37.5 grams for men. So that's like a very generous number. I've actually been called out on this number because a lot of people will go even lower. But when you really start looking at sugar content on food labels, you'll just be amazed at how much sugar is even in healthy foods. So even your protein bar that someone like yourself may grab in the afternoon could have, 15, 16 grams of added sugar in it. And for a woman, that's over half of her sugar allowance for the day. So it really can very easily add up. So that's my first tip, is to look at sugar content. I'm all about that. And believe me, we were just talking about this last night at my family dinner. We love those little Cadbury eggs. I haven't had one in years, but I know it's Easter season now. But I mean, back when I was younger, I didn't think about things like this. Like, we were just eat the Cadbury eggs like they were eggs. They were like filled with all the, the cream on the middle. And I honestly don't know how many sugar, the sugar content in that. But even for people who are younger, who are Starbucks lovers, the Starbucks drinks can have, 2 days worth of sugar allowance.
Wow.
So that's my first tip. Second is just gut health, which is just really just so good for overall healthy living. So if you're not taking a probiotic daily, I would highly recommend taking a probiotic, or just eat really fiber-filled foods, fruits, vegetables, oats, you name it. Super good to have really good gut health. And then another thing that I recently incorporated was just not eating after dinner. So again, to help with that mental clarity, reduce inflammation in the body. I know intermittent fasting is just so popular right now. Do you fast at all?
I do occasionally, yes, for
You do?
health reasons and spiritual reasons. Yeah, I've definitely fasted multiple times before and saw the benefits from it on both ends. So yeah.
Yeah, but even if you can't get up to that 16 hours, even just a 12-hour fast has so many health benefits, where it really reduces inflammation markers. And yeah, I mean, as you said, fasting has been around for thousands and thousands of years for spiritual reasons, and it really can help reduce that inflammation, improve mental clarity. It's really good for longevity. I read a lot about lifespan longevity, and it's always recommended to do a little bit of fasting. So those are my three off the top of my head that I can think of. But yeah, healthy living is great at any age.
I love it. I love it. Thanks so much for sharing. That was definitely good advice for everyone to be able to implement immediately,
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, that lowering the inflammation, I don't think people realize how important that is. A couple years ago, I read the Tom Brady book. I don't know if you've read it, the TB12 method. And one of his
No.
you got to read it. I recommend it to you. So it basically talks about, just reducing that inflammation, just like you said, by those, food choices, like lowering the sugars, lowering the carbs. And for athletes, it enables us to recover faster. Our bodies need to recover. But also, like you said, the mind, there's that mental clarity aspect where when you're in a, high pressure situation, you don't want to be fogged up or, bogged down by these things. You want to be, focused and relax, at the same time. And so that was one of the big things that I learned from the TB12 method. And so it's funny just to see, the similarities in those things. But yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I wanted to ask, that we talked about, there's tiny lifestyle changes that people can make to improve their health. And, we're laying it out in these three, practical ways, just like you said. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, right? So
Right.
I think that's one thing people assume is, it is going to be easy. I wanted to ask, what are some things that people may struggle with when they're running into these things? Maybe they have goals they want to reach for their health, for their wellness. And we give them three practical ways. What are maybe some roadblocks that they might occur in trying to achieve those goals, would you say?
Well, definitely, I think, everybody will sometimes have like a stumbling block where they don't have a great day, where maybe, they wanted to exercise for a half hour, but then, life gets in the way and then they don't exercise for a few days. Or you're trying to reduce sugar and then you go to a birthday party and have a piece of cake. So in our book, Tiny Life Changes, that's one thing we always recommend, is to give yourself permission for a redo. So if you have a bad day or a bad meal, I wouldn't even really say a bad day or bad meal, because I don't like to use that word. It's just a meal that maybe doesn't serve you, or a day that's really not serving you. Um, just always give yourself permission for a redo and just keep moving forward. So that's one thing that I really like, is to just keep moving forward. And I see that with you as an athlete. You're just always moving forward. So you just keep moving forward towards your goal. And really, that's one way. And then the other thing is, you don't have to have a perfect start. So no matter what your goal is, whether it be a health goal or any goal at all, just take the next best step. So let's say you want to, walk for a half hour a day. And the first week that you're getting started, it's super rainy outside. Maybe just turn on the TV and, do a walking in place, or walk on a treadmill if you have one, or whatever it may be. But just take the next best step. So the step doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to get started.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's super important that, that we give ourselves permission, like you said, to give ourselves grace, because we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
No.
We're human. We try to do the best we can, but we're not robots. We make mistakes, and some of that food looks appealing, the stuff that isn't the best for us.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to, like you're saying, have that discipline, to, execute these goals that we have. But at the same time, sometimes we're going to fall short. We need to give ourselves that grace, and then just get right back on it. It doesn't mean
Right.
keep staying in those bad habits. So we need, hop back on the good habits. So I thought that was super, super awesome. So thanks for sharing that. So in regards to, I wanted to talk about the Tiny Life Changes, the book. It was incredible. I read it.
Thank you.
And got a lot out of it. And I like that it has, certain parts throughout the book where there's like engaging questions that are personal to the person reading it, and I filled out, all the lines and asked about, like, what are you going to be grateful for today? What goals are you going to have in your health, and what are you going to do today to help, improve that? So super engaging book and super well written. You took a lot of complex ideas in regards to, the body and the mind is very complex. We're complex creatures, and you simplified it in this, easy to read, PDF format of an ebook called Tiny Life Changes with Your Sister. Would you mind just talking about, just the creation of that and how that inspiration came, and maybe the benefits people are getting out of that today, would you say?
Yeah. Well, my sister and I both went through a difficult time years ago, and right around the same time. She had breast cancer when she was 35. For myself and my husband, it was the downturn of 2008. And with that, we both just really delved into self-development and took a difficult situation and really felt that we became better people because of what we had gone through. She started a charity for moms undergoing cancer treatment called the Happily Ever After League, and she's helped thousands and thousands of women here in Phoenix through that journey. So we wanted to just put pen to paper, but we knew that change could be really daunting. And even for myself, I'm not someone who really loves change. So we wanted to just really simplify it. And another really big theme of the book is to just really have thoughts that do serve you, because my sister would always say, and with the women that she worked with who had cancer, a lot of times, when you have that real mindset that serves you well and thoughts that aren't bogging you down, you don't necessarily get through your journey quicker, but you get through that cancer journey better. So we wanted to put pen to paper, and it really is a very simple book, very filled with simple reminders. It is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble as well, if you wanted the actual hard copy.
Go get the book.
Yeah. But, we hear a lot of feedback from people saying, I've never really finished a book so quickly before. This was great. I take it out all the time and just have those simple reminders. And so that was one thing that we really wanted from it. It's a very short book. And sometimes I'll even order book. I love books. And it's pretty thick. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, I want to really read this book, but I don't know when I'm going to have time to read it, or it just seems a bit daunting. So we just really wanted to break everything down into a really simple format. So I'm glad that you liked it.
Yeah, No, that's awesome. That's super encouraging, and it's definitely making an impact in the world. You know, it impacted my life, and I've already told a handful of people about it. I'm
Oh,
telling more
good.
about it, and so I definitely encourage everyone listening on here, you know, to go read the book, and if you enjoy it, go share it with your friends as well. It's definitely a great read, and and reread it too. You know, I've already reread it. It's good to constantly keep those things fresh in our minds. You know, they're good reminders on a daily basis, weekly basis, you know, to they're almost like it's almost like a checklist. Hey, am I doing this? Like, why am I feeling this way? Well, you can do certain things, you know, to change those thought patterns, to change these habits that will impact your lifestyle, you know, and help you on a daily basis, you know. And just like you said, those tiny habits, they lead to big changes, you know, or big results, I should say. One of my friends the other day, his name is Buddy. He's actually a pastor, and he was saying that there's this analogy of, say there was a plane taking off from Los Angeles and it was going to New York, right? If the plane turned like 1 degree south, it would end up like in a completely different country, you know, over the course, you know, of the rest of the flight, you know. And that's the same way as your book perfectly states, you know, these small life changes, you know, can make a big difference in the long run. So we have to make sure we're directing this plane in the right direction to where we want to
Yeah,
take it, right?
I love that analogy. I
Yeah,
didn't never think about that, but so right, just one step and off, and you're in a different country. So yeah, that's a great analogy. And I
yeah,
really think another thing that we share in the book is that thoughts that don't serve you are weakest when they first occur. So you really want to just turn them around right when they occur. So, go from something like, oh, I'm not doing this perfectly, to, look how far I've come, even though I'm not where I'm at, looking backwards, I've really come so far, or whatever it may be. So just really turn it around right when they first occur. And we love affirmations. So there's some affirmations in the book. On my website, for my course for women who have bladder pain, I've shared hundreds of affirmations for health and healing. So I think even just simple things like, I am healthy, I am capable of attaining my goals, whatever it may be, just having those affirmations. I like saying them, even when I'm driving. So it's very simple. You can just state something over your life that you want to achieve and say things that are believable. So, if you're not feeling super healthy, and saying like, I am healthy doesn't feel right to you, say, I'm taking the steps to improve my health, or something to that effect. So affirmations can be really great in that manner as well.
wow, I love that. I love that. I think that's so powerful, that just what you said, you know, is basically that, you know, we have the ability to control our thoughts, you know, and recognize when we have those negative thoughts and substitute them for, you know, more objective thoughts, you know, and I think our mind always plays a lot of tricks on us, you know. Emotions are a super powerful tool, but sometimes they go against us, right? So we need to
Mhm.
remind of the truth, remind them of who we are, our identity, and who we want to become. You know, just like you said, you know, those affirmations are powerful. I have affirmations I repeat as well, and I think it's a great reminder that, you know, one, the mind is a powerful tool, but then two, that just as you said, that things start on the inside and they manifest on the outside. You know, so we have to see it in our mind first, have that vision,
Mhm.
leave it in our heart, and then make it happen. You know, if you're constantly telling yourself like, I am healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, in your mind, your body's going to follow. Eventually you're going to make these lifestyle changes to help out your health. So no, that was awesome. I definitely appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, and I mean, even as a baseball player, I'm sure you feel that as well. So if you're saying to yourself, I'm a healthy person, or, I'm a professional athlete, or whatever it may be, and you start acting in that way, does a professional athlete, have two candy bars after dinner? Probably not. They eat to fuel their body and take that time to exercise. So if you really start believing of someone who is healthy, or who has attained the goal already, then you just act in the way that that person would act. And that really is helpful as well.
I love that. I love that. No, that's a good point. I, you know, I've always heard that saying is like, you wouldn't put, the low quality gas in like a Lamborghini, right? It's
Right.
like, got to put the premium gas in there. We got to take care of ourselves. I had a special guest on the other week. Her name was Jordan, and she was talking about like, you have one body, we have one body, we got to take care of it. It's the same for the mind. We gotta take care of all these things, and they all go hand in hand. When one of these aspects is out of place, it affects all the other ones. And so for Galvanize Global, which is a platform that I created, the four core pillars are mind, body, spirit, and community. And those are things that I felt have helped me get on the right track for living life to my fullest potential. And I've noticed when one of those are out of place, they're all kind of affected. So I kind of have a checklist where I go through each one, every day, at the end of the day, beginning of the day, to make sure I'm on track to live that, fulfilled lifestyle, just as, Fulfilled Pharmacist,
Yeah.
preaches. I wanted to talk about a little bit. I think it was 25, 26 years ago, you were diagnosed with interstitial cystitis, which,
Yes.
for all that don't know, it's a painful bladder syndrome. And Lisa, you were, struggling with that pain, and you found ways and methods to be able to overcome that. And now you're out actually helping others with that same thing. And I think that is just so incredible, so amazing. But how that ties into, the mind, body, spirit, and community, just like one of those was out of place, I'm sure it kind of messed with all the other ones. I wanted to ask, how did you, help overcome that? And how did you, help have that idea to inspire others with that? Because I think that's just so amazing.
Oh, thank you. And honestly, I can't really say it was my idea. So when I wrote Tiny Life Changes with my sister, I'm really involved in the midlife community, just as you are in the baseball community. And so a lot of women that I knew had podcasts, and they asked me to come on. Well, somewhere along the line, I had shared about this diagnosis, and someone asked me about it on a podcast. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, why are we talking about this? It's so embarrassing. I don't want to talk about this. It's in my past. And, but the question was asked, and we talked about it. And then from there, someone else was like, can I ask you about this again? So I'm like, okay, we'll talk about it again. And then I just started getting so many messages from women who had bladder issues. And even to this day, it will be amazing to me where, someone will be following me, and, big fashion blogger or something. And then they'll send me a note saying, my daughter has bladder issues, or my sister does, or something. So it's just something that affects so many women, and especially in midlife women, who a lot of my followers are in midlife. 70% of women will experience some sort of overactive bladder, nearly 3/4 of all women at
Wow.
least once a month. So it's something that really affects women. And so I really just felt that I wanted to share with these women how I was able to overcome this. And really, I have to say, when I was diagnosed, there was no internet. So for me, it was good and bad. So, you learn so much on the internet, but there's also so many women, and I talk to women all the time who wind up in these Facebook chats or researching things online, and all they see are other women who really, are suffering and have 20 years of suffering. And so I always just held that hope. And, we have that in common with our faith. So I just was like, okay, God, I'm going to try this, and it's going to work. I just held on to that hope. And so that is always my hope, is to give women that hope as well, so that they can move forward to freedom from bladder issues. And really, it starts with so many different things. And I just switched up my website as well. And so on it was ditchbladderpain.com. I had a course for women who had painful bladder, and really has also so much to do with overactive bladder. But all the coursework, my free ebook, it's all free on the fulfilledpharmacist.com. So it's something that I really just want to do to give back. And my schedule says it's full, but if you message me, I also talk to women who have painful bladder, and if they want to come on and, talk to me weekly, whatever, we can arrange for that. But also send me messages. I get a lot of messages from women, so I'm happy to answer any questions or just have that form of support. So I'm happy to do that. It's really my way of giving back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I think it's just incredible how, something, at the surface seems and was a very negative situation, but
Mm-hmm.
just as you said, that God used that situation to help get you through it, to help strengthen your faith, to help strengthen your health, and now He's able to use you as a light to help others and what they're struggling, and I can only imagine like how tough that was to be able to share that with the public light, and it's not easy stuff to talk about, but it's things that are helping other people, so it needs to be talked about, and I think that's super encouraging. So I commend you for your courage, because I know that's not easy stuff to talk about by any means. And I'm also encouraged, by your faith and how God has used that situation and you to help impact the life of others. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I honestly just, feel so grateful for it, because a lot of times when I talk to women, they may have a fantastic doctor or a pelvic floor physical therapist or whoever they may be seeing, but they really haven't talked to someone who has a medical background who also has that same diagnosis. So they really feel, that connection. We have that connection where I really can help them with gaining that freedom, but I completely understand how devastating it is. And I know, my boys, all three of my boys, but my two older boys were just toddlers when this was happening. And so it was just so hard as a young mom to not be able to go to the park because I could barely walk, or not even really able to lift my baby. So I'm just really honestly so thankful that I am so much better. I'm medication free for over 18 years now. And I only know that because my youngest is 18 and I went off all of my medication when I became pregnant with him. So yeah, it's really just been just so amazing for me that I am feeling that much better. I'm so very grateful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing. So I wanted to open it up for some questions for anybody. If you had some questions, just type it in the chat, and it could be for Lisa or myself, and we'll answer them. So yeah, just ask some questions. Could be anything about anything we talked about. Could be about health and wellness. Could be about faith. It could be about achieving goals, making tiny life changes. So yeah, just put it in the chat below. Yeah, do you have anything to add to that before we answer some of these questions, Lisa?
Yeah, one thing I kind of wanted to talk about, and I wanted to maybe ask you as well, is I really have a morning routine. I really am a strong believer in just taking some time in the morning to really set the tone for my day. And that could be, writing, reading, whatever it may be, something inspirational, just taking a few moments to pray, or whatever that may be. And I really feel that is such an important aspect of overall well-being. And so I wanted to ask you if you had a morning routine as well.
um, yes and no. I think yes, because I agree. I think it's just a great way to start the day. And the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I get right on my knees and I start praying. And
Mm-hmm.
first, I just thank God for all the blessings He's given me and my family. I thank Him for the hardships and struggles too, that He's helped us through. And then I pray for those in need, that I know in my life, and those that I don't know. And then I ask for help to stay healthy, to stay safe. And I pray for blessings for my family and for others. And then I get right into the Bible and I start reading. And then I read my affirmations. I have different goals in my life that I want to achieve, and I'm a huge believer as well in writing down those goals physically and then repeating them on a constant basis, so it's fresh in your mind. And then I like to start my day off with a nice meal, so a good breakfast. I am pretty routine as far as my meals. I'm pretty simple guy, so I have for the breakfast, I have eggs, spinach, whole wheat toast, and water. And sometimes I'll have like some berries with it.
Mhm.
And um, yeah, and then I start my day. I like to do working out like early in the day, first part of the day to there was a quote by Mark Twain. It was called like "Eat the frog." So, you want to do the hardest thing first, right? Because if you put it off until the end of the day, you're probably not going to do it to the best of your abilities, or you might not even get it done. So, I
Right.
like I like to get up early, get things done, and then I have a little bit more freedom later in the day. But yeah, I like to get my workout during the day, and then baseball specific skill work. Whether it's going to the field or with the coach. And then, the rest of the day, pretty much, spending time with family. I have, a few different things I'm doing, as far as life coaching, just like yourself. I help local kids, doing baseball lessons and, have the podcast as well. So yeah, that's pretty much mine. Yeah.
I'm proud of you. You're doing awesome things out there. That's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. No, I really appreciate it. No, it's funny. Like sometimes, I don't really think about it, because I just get up and do it, But I think it's good also to talk about it, like you said, just be aware of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, and how can we, make the best of our time, because time is such a valuable resource, and you know, we only have a certain number of hours in a day, and we only have a certain amount of days in our life. We're not going to live forever. There's a point where it's going to come to a close for this life on earth. And I just want to be able to have, no regrets, and do everything I can, and be able to make the world a better place in multiple aspects. And I'm super encouraged just by conversations like these, and, I know everyone on here is getting a lot out of it. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been wonderful. And I know I can't think of the exact quote, but there's another quote that's something like, you know, self development is like bathing, that you have to do it daily, so sometimes you think, oh, I'm going to skip today, I'm not going to read, my Bible or my positivity or write anything or do my affirmations, but it really kind of makes you feel a bit off kilter, and especially if different days go by. So I really do encourage everyone to just do this daily. It's like bathing. It's just have it become part of the routine, and it really just feels like it sets a wonderful tone for the day.
Definitely, definitely, absolutely. And then like you said as well, we do have to, give ourselves grace and give ourselves permission if there are days where we happen to miss for whatever it comes. Maybe
Yes,
there's family emergency, or maybe, we have another priority that needs to take place. So yeah, do everything we can to do it, every single day. But if not, that it's okay. We can get back, the next day. So
absolutely.
definitely, definitely. Let's see. We got some more people joining the chat. My friend David, Daryl. We have Foster Ward Farm. Neela. Oh, Zach. All right. We got any questions? Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. How did you get into being a pharmacist, Lisa? How did you get into?
Oh, well, this is so funny because honestly, I was really young. I graduated just shy of being 23. So I don't have a PharmD. Back then, the PharmD was optional. So I have a Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy, which was still a 5-year degree at the time. But several things. My grandmother loved her pharmacist, so she really encouraged me. And my 22-year-old mind, I wanted to go into medicine, but I didn't want to touch anybody. So that was part of it. So I really have always loved being a pharmacist. I was in retail pharmacy for over 30 years of my 33-year career, and that was a path that I definitely knew I wanted to go on. And same thing, I just felt like it was truly my purpose. Really loved being able to connect with all my patients. I was always in a setting that was a little bit slower where I could do that, and it was just really wonderful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, that's super encouraging. And so yeah, I hope that answered the question there. Let's see, do we have any more questions? Saran said she wants to join. She's from India. Sorry, Saran. Hope you're doing well in India. I definitely want to visit India one day. Oh, how did the interview in the Oprah magazine.com happen?
Oh, honestly, I'm not quite sure. It was so thrilling for me. I just got a message one day from Hearst Publications that they wanted to talk to women who had overactive bladder. So that was how that came about. I'm assuming just because I'm out there in the bladder space and midlife space. And so it was just one of those really thrilling things that they, just sent me an email saying, do you want to do this? So it was really fantastic. And the other thing I will just say about my new website, The Fulfilled Pharmacist, one of the reasons I wanted to put a new website together is because I wanted everything in one spot. So I've done numerous podcasts on bladder health, overall wellness, tiny life changes, numerous guest blogs, magazine articles, you name it, it's all on there. So anything that you want to access is there as well. You can read the Oprah article there as well.
Awesome. Yeah, go check that out if you haven't already. The article and all the other resources on her website, thefulfilledpharmacist.com.
Yes.
And Instagram, just like she's on right now, The Fulfilled Pharmacist. Facebook, she's at The Fulfilled Pharmacist. She's on YouTube. She does it all. Lisa King does it all. And also, I encourage everyone to go read that article too. I know she doesn't like, bragging about herself, but I think it's a great honor. The single cares, most influential pharmacist. So go read that article. It's a great read just to hear about, the influence in that aspect. Someone's asking here. Is she on Amazon? Yes, she wrote the book, Tiny Life Changes. It's on Amazon. Go get it. Thank you all for tuning in to the Galvanize with Gavin podcast. I hope you were inspired and empowered to reach your fullest potential in life. For more resources, visit gavinjohns.com. For businesses interested in sponsoring the podcast, visit gavinjohns.com/sponsor. Thank you all, and God bless.